entire family. When they finished, not one atom of the bird remained apart from beak, claws and bones. Then, Mrs. Cratchit brought in the Christmas pudding, a speckled cannonball, flaming in a quartern of ignited brandy. Bob declared that this here pudding was the greatest triumph of Mrs. Cratchit since their wedding day. Mrs. Cratchit said, well, she had been rather concerned about the quantity of flour, but in the event it turned out to be really rather nice after all. Thank you very much, yesterday. Thank you. Everybody had something nice to say about the pudding, and nobody suggested it was a very small pudding for a very large family. Bob then proposed a toast, my dears. God bless us. Which everyone echoed. Tiny Tim, the last of all. God bless us, everyone. Bob kept his arm round the little fellow's shoulder as if he was afraid he might lose him. Scrooge noticed this detail and turning to the ghost said, Spirit, tell me, will Tiny Tim live?
Unless the future of these shadows is altered, the child will die.
No, Spirit, tell me he will live.
What of it, Scrooge? Let him die, and so decrease the surplus population.
Scrooge bowed his head to the ground in shame, but raised it on the instant at hearing his name. Mr. Scrooge, my dears, I would like to propose the health of Mr. Scrooge, founder of our feast. Founder of our feast, indeed, said Mrs. Cratchit, reddening. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon. It's Christmas! All right. Our drink is out for your sake and the Daddy's. To Mr. Scrooge, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to him. He'll be very merry and happy, I have no doubt. It was the first part of their proceedings that had no pleasure in it. It was fully 10 minutes before their high spirits returned. But when they did, they were 10 times the happier for having Scrooge the Baleful over and done with for another year. There was nothing remarkable about the Cratchits' Christmas dinner. They were not a handsome family. Their clothes were ragged, their shoes had holes in them, and their furniture had doubtless seen the inside of a pawnbroker's shop. And yet, they were all of them contented with the time and happy with one another. And Scrooge kept his eye on the vision of Cratchit's Christmas dinner as it faded from sight, and especially upon Tiny Tim.
Scrooge! I have one more thing to show you. Look here.
And the ghost drew back the long folds of his gown. And there, crouching at his feet, were a boy and a girl. Pale, wolfish, emaciated. Scrooge drew back in horror. Spirit, are these children yours?
They are mankind's. This boy is ignorance, this girl is want. Beware them both, but most of all, beware this boy. For I see doom written across his forehead, unless the writing be erased.
But Spirit, have they no refuge? Have they no comfort?
Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?
And once again, Scrooge bowed his head to the ground. And as he did so, the city bells began to ring out the midnight hour. Stay the last of the three ghosts. As the last stroke of midnight ceased to vibrate, Scrooge, remembering the prophecy of Jacob Marley, raised his head. And there, drifting towards him through the mist, came a shadowy figure, draped entirely in black, with face concealed, only one bony hand exposed. It gave off an aura of doom and desolation. I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Spirit of the future, I fear you more than the others, yet I know your business is to do me good. Conduct me where you will, and I will follow. The ghost made no answer, but turned and led Scrooge through the slums of London to a filthy slop house, where a greasy old rascal dealt in rags and bones and cast-off clothing. As they entered, a slatternly woman with a bundle crept in after them.
Hello, old Joe! Look what I've got for you here!
What you got this time for me, Gertie? You's used to bringing me dead men's spoils.
Half a minute's patience, Joe, and you'll see. I nicked these things from his death chamber and wrapped them in his red velvet bed curtains. What we got here? These are his blankets, see? And his sheets. Oh, yeah. Look at this fine cambric shirt. They was going to bury him in this. I mean, what a wicked waste, eh? Strip it off the corpse. That was a struggle.
Well done, Gertie. If he wanted to keep these fine things after he were dead, why weren't you a bit more natural when he were alive? That way he'd have some friends or relatives grieving around him when he choked out his last, instead of gasping it out all alone there with only the rats and the cats to eat him.
You never said a true word. It's a judgment on the old rascal, it is.
Scrooge turned in horror to the ghost. Spirit, can you not show me some pity associated with the death? The ghost made no answer, but led Scrooge back the way they had come, back to Camden Town, back to the lodging of Bob Cratchit. Only this time, everything was very quiet, strangely quiet. Mrs. Cratchit and the girls sat at one end of the table, working on a white linen garment. The two twins sat silent as mice beside the cold ashes in the fire. Master Peter at the other end of the table had an open book from which he read, "And he took a small child and placed him in the midst of them and said, Except ye become as one of these, ye shall not enter the kingdom of heaven." Mrs. Cratchit rubbed her eyes. "The light is very bad in here. I not have your father see me with red eyes." The light? Oh no, it wasn't the light. Little Bob then entered, wearing his white comforter scarf. Oh, he had need of a comforter now. The twins ran to him, took him to his seat, climbed upon his knee and pressed their cheeks against his face as if to say, "Don't grieve, Father. Don't be sad." Little Bob was very pleasant. He commended the girls' needlework. "That's a fine shroud you've made there. I've just been up to look at the burying place. It's so green and pleasant. And I said to him just last night before we lost him that we'd all go there every weekend so that we could all spend sometime with my little... He broke down, poor fellow, he couldn't help it.